What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to the Bottom at Christmas Challenge here with Burnley, of course, 100% live in Football Manager 2019. That's a mouthful. I'll shorten that for next time. But yes, we're back. If you're sat here wondering, hey, what the hell is this series? There'll be a link to the playlist down below. You missed episode 1, the introduction here. The groundwork was laid, and hopefully we're going to build upon it today with the first game of the season for me. Yes, it's a game against Newcastle. A Newcastle United side without a manager who, to be fair, if we were playing them at the start of the month, I'd be excited to play them. They have won 2 recently. They did lose against Palace away, but I'm optimistic that maybe they're beatable. And we are going to be at home for it as well. Of course, we are still settled in our 4-4-2. How this is going to work, I really don't know. To me, on paper, in my head, it makes sense. But football isn't played out on paper or in my head. Except for when I overthink about football. But that's a whole other thing. Anyway, we have to set expectations and stuff to start today. The board expectation is to reach the group stage of the Europa League. But we're already into the knockout round. We don't get any extra money for selecting the knockout round. So we'll keep it on group stage because then we will exceed expectations. And that's what we need to do here, exceed expectations. Board expectation, avoid relegation battle. That's going to be difficult because we're already in a relegation battle. I don't know how we can avoid something we're already in. 5th round of the FA Cup is fine as well. We'll go with those as the expectations. I mean, where are Burnley predicted right now? Let's have a look. Predicted 16th. So the media still think we're safe. Maybe. Basically, they think that we could stay up with a bit of luck. And we should be staying up. So the pressure's on me as much as anything. I do want to, before we start today, look at the transfer list. Because as I mentioned last episode, there are some positions we definitely need players in. And one of them is centre mid. And we need some centre midfielders desperately. So we're going to see what's in the market. And, transfer listed centre mids, we have options. Danny Drinkwater. He could be useful. Now, the only issue is he's on £120,000 a week, which is a little out of my budget. We'll maybe try and loan him. We'll see what the scouts say on him. Matty James. I mean, he could be an interesting option. He could offer us the strength and depth we need, but £6 million is a little too much for what he offers. And then we get into the depths of championship players. And then Stuart O'Keefe. I'm going to be honest, none of these guys are doing it for me. So with that in mind, let's have a look at players whose contracts are expiring in a year and see if there's any centre midfielders here who, I don't know, tickle my fancy. Players that actually you look at and go, hey, they could be good. Although, we should upgrade our scouting package to Europe. That will give us some more results. Of course, this is always the thing with doing a series live, isn't it? We're kind of learning on the fly. So now if you look at the transfer list, this is better. There's more options now. De Hood could be a good signing from Dortmund. How much do you want? 20. Yeah, I don't really want to spend all my budget on one player. We have this guy, Manu Trigueros. That's probably not how you say his name, but it sounded good in my head. So he's a good creative player, but he's valued at 10 million, which is a little outside of our budget. Interestingly enough here, there are players who have already been scouted. There's Schneiderlin and El Neni. They're both asking prices a little too high for my liking. Let's continue looking down the list here. So we've got Bernat, who's 31. He's a little older, but a deep line playmaker on defend he might be. Maybe not the box-to-box player we need. I kind of need someone who can do both. Dominic Koa. I mean, he's just a really good ball-winning midfielder, but we aren't planning, at least, right now, to play with one of those. Maybe I should be. Oh, this is going to be me panicking and changing the tactic slots, isn't it? If things don't go our way after 2 games, I might start panicking, because then we have Manchester City. That's when stuff will start to get real. I'm going to be honest, I am underwhelmed by the options that are being presented to me in the centre mid department. Let's have a look at players who can play up front, because we might need more strikers. Actually, it's probably worth checking. Something I've not done yet is I've not looked at the analysis Can we look at match? We can't because we've just come in, but we can look at matches. So let's look at domestic league games. We've played 13 of these. We've created more clear-cut chances than we've conceded when playing a 4-4-2. But apparently we're just not scoring. That is a little bit of a concern, isn't it? Chris Wood has 20, Barnes has 9, and then Charlie Taylor, who I assume was playing left mid a lot, has got 3. In terms of assists, it's all about this guy, Gudmundsson, who, I mean, to be fair to him, good little creative player, apparently. But behind him, not a great deal in the way of creativity. I feel like a creator and a finisher, they're the things we need right now. A creator and a finisher. Who's available? Casado at Lazio. He could be a good backup pressing forward. How would he do as a target man on support? Not the best jumping reach, but I like the mentals and he's well rounded. Tell you what, we'll get a scout report. And what's the asking price? 2.7 million? Value in the market, as a famous YouTuber once said. Yes, we'll have a look at him. Who else is available here? Shinji Okazaki. Not jumping out at me. Of course, we managed Bayer at the start of the year. Poyampalo here, the Finnish guy. I'm going to be honest. Yoel here, he not a great finisher for me when I was at Bayern. So I'm a little bit put off. Charlie Austin, out for 8 days to 2 weeks. Transfer listed. See, I have a love-hate relationship with Charlie Austin. He's the kind of player who I might be interested in loaning, but I don't think we can actually submit a loan offer until the transfer window opens. Is it dangerous to say that I've got my heart set on Casado? Is that a gamble? I'll let you guys decide. Right back to a transfer listed. We need a backup. If they could play left back as well, that would be good. Matias Suarez. Underwhelmed. I'll tell you what. I'm going to put faith in the fact my scouts are going to find me the players I need. And I feel like we can worry about transfers and all that jazz. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Now, Tom Heaton, natural captain. But I was thinking about not playing him in goal and playing Joe Hart ahead of him. Let's just reevaluate this. Tom Heaton. I mean, I just feel like Joe Hart is the better goalkeeper. And I don't really care what the star ratings say. I think they're a load of rubbish. So Joe Hart, England's #1 once upon a time. Not right now, let's be realistic. Let's have him. Let's introduce ourselves to the squad, right. General happiness. I mean, there's lots of minor issues here. And it's players wanting chances in the first team, including Joe Hart. Mate, you're going to get your time to shine. I have no idea how the players are going to react here. I'm going to say we can finish mid-table. They love it. I mean, I feel like I've lied a little there, because I feel like that might be a little ambitious to go mid-table. But if that's what they want to do, that's what we're going to go for. Casado here, he wants us to fund a coaching course for him. I think he'd be a rotation option. He's 30. He's experienced. And I think experience is what we need in this relegation dogfight. I mean, 20 teamwork, 20 work rate, strength. He's a little terrier, is this boy. Great pressing forward as well. For 2.7 million, let's hope his wage demands aren't too crazy, because I did notice he doesn't have the smallest wages in the world, does he? We're going to make our managerial debut. Right, tell you what I need to do. Staff responsibilities. And what we're going to do, overview. Where is press conferences? Where is it? Am I blind? Again, another issue with doing everything live. I have to find this stuff on the fly. And I'm not good at handling stuff like this on the fly. Right. Assistant, you can do the tactical briefings and team meetings. Oh, wait, no, I want to do team talks. Whoa. I meant press conferences and tactical briefings. And the new signings. You can deal with those two. And the tunnel. Basically, Ian, you deal with the press. I'll deal with the players. That's the game plan here. I think we're on the same team here. We're on the same team. Right, Casado, you want 68,000. I can only offer you £45,000 a week. I'm sorry. I'm going to lock that in. He's not going to be happy, is he? Tell you what, top goal scorer in the league is not happening. £500,000. £500,000 if you get top goal scorer in the league. And if you're in the team of the year, £500,000 as well. Right, he wants a big signing on fee that I can't quite afford. Yearly wage rise? No, no yearly wage rise. What if I give you a longer deal? Will that make you happier? He's happier. 4 years. He's thinking, yeah, that's good. Right, good negotiations, Jack. Could he get us goals? I mean, he's done nothing for Lazio all year. He got 3 in 22 last season. It's not boding well. But sometimes you've got to take a punt. We'll wait and see what the scouts have to say as well. If he's injury prone, nah. Oh, God. Speaking of injuries, Aaron Lennon's out for 1 to 2 days. Ashley Barnes is out for 1 to 3 days. I mean, it's not ideal considering we've got a game tomorrow. I do need to look for wide midfielders as well. I'm going to continue to put faith in the fact my scouts are going to find me the wide players I need. Although maybe, just maybe, I should look at who's available. You know, probably advised. In terms of right backs, there's no one blowing me away. Abate, I mean, he's 30. I didn't realise Abate was as old as that. I'm going to be honest, I thought he was younger. Ikoko playing for Gungam. You're pretty good. Good backup option. Only £5,000 a week. I mean, West Brom are interested in him. That's the hallmark of quality. How does he compare in our team to Phil Bardsley? I mean, he's not as good defensively, is he? As our Phil. But he is quicker. Is he good enough to be backup? Probably not. Now you, Inigo Lekue, definitely not how you say his name. You can play right back and left back, and you look adequate. And you got 1.2 million. That is the backup right back I need for this relegation dogfight. And the fact he can play on the other side as well is useful. In terms of a right midfielder who can play left, Pione Sisto. I feel like this guy used to be really hotly tipped in FM. Is he still good? Asking price is 6.5 million. 18 teams interested. Okay, there's lots of Premier League teams interested in him, and therefore he must be good. Although, can we get like something over a couple of different, you know, periods of time here? Can we negotiate a deal that involves, you know, a bit of luck in the future? What about, okay, bonus after competition achievement, Premier League, bonus upon avoid. If we avoid relegation by the end of next season, and he plays 10 games, I'll give you another 2.5. That's a bargain. Okay, they didn't like that. I'm a little bit disappointed. I'm thinking clauses might not make things cheaper here for me, which was kind of the whole point in the clauses in the first place. So they want 6.5. Okay, look, I'll give you 5 million over 3 years. Value in the market. They're really testing me here. I'm just going to give them the money. You know what? I've had enough. This is not good negotiation tactics, but I'm just going to give them the money. Because they clearly don't want to negotiate. They're wasting our time. Sisto, though, depending on what the scouts say, he could be very good because he can play on the right and the left. And that versatility is good because we do not have good wide players. Simply put, we do not have anyone who's good out wide. And he's only 23. Like, he's young too. There's also this guy who also plays for Celta Vigo, who's either-footed, cuts in from both wings. You, sir, you're the inverted winger I need. You're the backup that I need at inverted winger, potentially. I mean, look at him. I like the look of him. How does he compare to Aaron Lennon? Lennon is the hallmark and kind of the benchmark of backup wide man right now. I mean, Lennon's better than I realised. But this guy's either-footed and can play on the left and right, and he's better than Jonathan Walters. How much do you want? 1.3 million. One thing that is really striking me about this Burnley side is it's a small squad. Considering we're fighting in Europe as well, I like a squad of 30 players normally for a European campaign. Maybe 28. 28 to 30 is, for me, a team that can handle a league campaign and a European campaign. It does not surprise me that this team has struggled when it comes to just the season as a whole so far. In many ways, I'm kind of surprised that they've done as well as they have in the Europe to get to the knockout rounds. That's actually a pretty good achievement given this current squad. I mean, Celta Vigo have a lot of players transfer listed. Yastreb, probably how you say his name. I mean, he seems pretty... Are we just going to sign Celta Vigo's... Where are you in the league, Celta Vigo? The attempt... You're not even doing that badly. We just need to raid Celta Vigo's team and take all the players who are unhappy about lack of first-team football. They've got Emre Moore as well. Did he used to play for Dortmund? He did. They signed him for 11 million. He's not played that great this year. I mean, he's played. It's more than what the other players we've tried to sign for them have done. Pablo Hernandez is transfer list. Well, not transfer list, but recommended to us from Leeds. I mean, he's very good, isn't he? Very good. But he's old. I realise I'm adding quite a lot of continental flair already to this team. When you consider how many English, Irish and Scottish players there are here, going a little bit continental. Lekue here, good backup. Are you going to be okay being a backup playmate? You are. Perfect. Sisto, first team player. He's loving it. I'm loving it too. This guy, we'll just call you Andy. For name's sake, I'm sorry. It's the Danish invasions going on. Is he going to be okay with being a backup? Oh, he did not like that. What about rotation? That's better. I mean, happy Christmas to me. Newcastle at home. This is going to go swimmingly. I'm already confident. Right, Andy, you want 27 grand. You want a... That's a quite... Minimum release clause of 29 million. I don't ever think he's going to be worth 29 million. So that's okay with me. Although I'd like you to lower your wage demands just a little bit. But your relegation release clause, 5 million if we go down. He didn't like that. Look, come on, 21.5. Thank you. What is our actual wage budget free? Let's have a look here. I mean, we're negative. That's not great. That's probably the Casado transfer doing that, I imagine. Sisto here, 34. Relegation release clause. You know, I'm going to lower the relegation release clause again. We're going to stay up this year. Relegation is not on my mind. Famous last words. Look, £30,000 a week, Sisto. This could get to a situation where I'm asking the board to increase the wage budget. We could reach that situation early on. Can I make that? I can make that request. We'll wait until we sign players before we ask for more. I'd like the board to realise that we do need more wage budget rather than asking now when I'm in the process of spending the budget that we've been set. I feel like it'll be easier for me to proposition it once we don't have any left rather than now while I'm in the midst of spending it. Anyway, Andre Mariner, great referee. He's going to give us loads of penalties and stuff, maybe. Player fitness is a concern here. I'm going to save this selection as our best 11, as I do it with the incorrect caps, because I'm incompetent. But this is our best 11, but we are actually going to have to rotate things here today. Phil Bardsley, I mean, I'd rather play Long at right back than Bardsley. Bardsley just doesn't have the pace. I mean, he's going to have to do it today. We'll see what he does. Jeff Hendrick is not great when it comes to fitness, but I don't have another centre mid. I literally don't have another centre mid because Stephen Dufour, who is the third choice centre mid and the only centre mid, he's more injured. I mean, let's hope we don't get any striker injuries here. Ashley Barnes as well probably shouldn't play today with his current injury, but I don't have an attacking player to have on the bench instead of him, so he can stay on the bench, but we're going to have to play Vidra at pressing forward. Now, Vidra, I've questioned your potential. I'm looking at replacements. This is a time and a chance for you to shine. I mean, we've got 3 injured players on the bench, and then Peter Crouch and Jonathan Walters. We don't have options on the bench, is what I'm realising here. We're going to need to find some, but at least for now, this is the team we've got. We're playing 4-4-2. Mike Bassett would be proud. I'm going for a score prediction now. 2-0 win. Come on, boys. I've got faith. No one's reacting. I've not had a chance to build a relationship with any of these players yet. I mean, Vidra's reacting well. I guess that's something, right? Anyway, let's get into this. We are taking on Newcastle. They've just sacked their manager. I've just been appointed. I feel like with this series, we might want to just have the league table omnipresent in the bottom right. Mate, we'll wait till crunch time, actually. Right now, we don't want to look at the league. it doesn't matter right now. We know our situation. Let's just see how we get on here. I mean, the early signs seem okay. They've not had a shot on target. We've had some. We're not having a lot of the ball, but we don't need the ball here at Burnley. We're about defending well and then hitting on the break and being clinical with our finishing. Except so far this year, they've not been clinical and they're not scoring many. But I'm here to turn that around. But I do think we're going to be relying on a lot of transfers. And I think our players we bring in are probably going to be quite important this year. Anyway, it's half-time. It's 0-0. There hasn't been a highlight yet. It's not exactly a classic. We've had 36% of the ball. But we're defending well. You know, they've had one shot all game. The game plan's working. Kind of. At what point do I panic and switch to the attacking version of the tactic that we set up? Do I do that now? Is it too early to panic and go more attacking and direct? I think it is. We'll go to that if it stays 0-0. We need wins, not draws. We're on 12 points. We need to turn Turf Moor into a fortress. And while Goodmanson, what can we do here? Wood switches the play to Brady. You can see he's got the on-runners on ahead. He brings it forward. Goes to Charlie Taylor, who crosses it in. Vidra, I mean, it's the first chance and it's been missed. I mean, let's hope that isn't a sign of things to come. Here, you know, we'll put that to the back of our mind. Shelby, set piece. I'm going to say Joe Hart had that covered. I don't know if he did. Jeff Hendrick is looking exhausted. We should sub him. I don't have a sub. Chris Wood, I'm going to swap with Vidra. And I'm going to take off Vidra for our secret weapon, Peter Crouch. He's going to be the man of the moment here. And I think we're going to bring Aaron Lennon on and then swap him with Goodmanson, who's going to go out onto the left. Our midfield is exhausted. This is a situation. After this game, I'm going to sort out our set pieces as well, because we need to be set piece demons here. We're going to go more attacking as well for the last 5 minutes. We need a goal, boys. A point wouldn't be the end of the world, but it might be the start of the end. We need to turn Turf Moor into a fortress. We need to start winning here as much as anything. I mean, the good news as far as I'm concerned is we've not conceded a clear-cut chance this game. So defensively, we've looked good. And when we looked at the league table last time, whilst, you know, Wood was the top goal scorer, clearly we were conceding just too many goals. So we've solved that. I'm clutching at straws here. There's still time. Goodmanson brings the ball forward, switches it. Where's Peter Crouch? Lennon, pick him out. Pick him out. Goodmanson, Wood, finish that! Oh my God, what are you doing? He forgot how to shoot. I mean, it's a draw. It's a point. We've closed the gap to 5. The fact that that is what I'm clinging on to is somewhat concerning, isn't it? I'm not happy, boys. I'm not happy about that at all. We should be doing better. Wood could do with a rest. I mean, we've got a game in 3 days. We definitely need some centre midfielders quick, is what I'm realising here, because we have 3. And that's not enough. And actually, now I look at it, I realise I've not actually decided to sign one yet. So let's have another look, shall we? We are massively over the wage budget, but we're under the transfer budget, so maybe it will cancel itself out. Morgan Schneiderlin. I mean, he's on 120 grand a week. It's a little expensive. It's a little out of our price range, I think, would be the fairest way to phrase it. I mean, we're getting desperate when we're looking at players playing in the Bundesliga too. We need players who are Premier League quality. You have a fantastic name and a fantastic head of hair. You're valued at £500,000. You can play left back. I mean, I've never heard of you, and you look distinctly average, but you have 20 determination and good work rate. And if you can come in for $500,000 and don't have mad wage demands, in terms of just getting another body in the midfield, he might be the man for us. So also this guy plays for Leipzig. Never heard of you, Ilsanka. I mean, good ball winner, just not really much of a playmaker. Manu Trigueros. I'm looking at him again. He's out of our budget, and I know it. So why am I looking at him? Why am I torturing myself by looking at what I can't afford? Let's have a look. Not homegrown status at players whose contracts are expired. I mean, we could just... Are we desperate enough that we're happy to look at players who have played at least one international game and are a free agent? Is there anyone... Paul Konchesky. I mean, it doesn't bode well, does it? Is there anyone who's young in this list who plays for, like, a good nation? No disrespect to any of the nations I'm scrolling by here, by the way. I'm just not convinced... I'm not convinced that these guys are going to be the men to solve our problems. I mean, you've played for Serbia, and you can play right back, and we need a right back. How much do you want a week? 3,000? It's a body. I'm conscious of the fact that I'm channeling my inner Dr. Benji here by making signings that don't make sense. Because Sim, I know this guy. He used to play for Swindon, and he used to be quite good in Football Manager. You used to play for Swindon, right? See? Know my football. That's playing in League One, though. Probably not of our calibre. Mate, you're a backup for Nantes on £7 a week, and now you want to come to us and suddenly you're asking for 17. I can give you 12. 12. 12 and a half. 13. I feel like I'm bidding here at an auction. There we go, right. I mean, we'll wait and see what the scouts have to say, but I'm looking at him and I'm thinking value in the market. And we need a centre mid, basically. Just because Hendrick's dying on the pitch and I don't have anyone to bring in for him. Right, set pieces. In terms of set piece plans, I mean, looking at it here, it's loaded up the LAN corner tactic, which actually I'm quite happy with to be our corner tactic. And I don't tend to place that much pride in set pieces. We will double check personnel here. But in terms of who should be taking them, on the right-hand side, we want left-footed players. Actually got some decent deliverers of the ball. And then on the right-hand side, or rather on the other side, we want right-footers. Preferably ones who are going to play like Hendrick, and I guess Westwood can take them if it comes to it. Do we have a great free-kick taker? I mean, to be fair, okay, we've got Brady and we've got Gudmundsson, who between them aren't that bad. And Westwood's not too bad as a third choice. And then throw-ins, we don't really have any super great throw-in specialists. And I don't really like to have centre-backs take the throw-ins. Is that weird? Is anyone else like that, or is that just me? Right, so we've got the LAN corner tactic here, which is going to look to put the ball towards our kind of better headerer of the ball. But actually, I'm just thinking about who our actual best headerer is, and it's probably going to be Wood. I mean, Wood is very, very good. He's a bit of a fox in the box. We'll have the pressing forward lurk at the edge of the area, and we'll do the same here. So, swap these around. And then the pressing forward will be the one who lurks at the edge of the box. That makes sense, right? And then we just have Brady mark the keeper because he's just not very tall. And the same on the other side. Right. I mean, that's been set up quicker than I anticipated. But I feel like in general, I'm not someone who takes a load of pride in set pieces. I feel like aiming for the back post where you have a tall player is usually kind of just how I've approached it this year. And it seems to have worked okay for me. We've got Leicester in 10th next away, and then we've got Manchester City. So, two games that, as a relegation candidate, you'd probably say, we don't expect to get anything here. But given the fact we're a Burnley, you know, we're not a Cardiff, no disrespect to Cardiff, but we're a team who, I feel like, going into this kind of game, we should probably be hoping to get something out of it, given our expectations at the start of the year. It's interesting that Barco's been recommended to us. Especially because it's unlikely he would get a work permit. I mean, why are we here? What is this about? The sooner that our scouts start getting some good assignments done... Wait, when I set up all the assignments, did it overwrite all the other ones? Oh no, it's just here. You can see it. I was looking at previous assignment. We're still looking for players. I mean, I'll be honest. If we can get in Andy and Sisto, that's the wide midfielder positions covered for not a massive amount of money. And Casado looks like value in the market in terms of a great pressing forward who's consistent. Yes, I like that. Sisto, have we got the scout report back on you? Inconsistent. See, I'm someone who values consistency quite highly. Ultimately, however, we're in the January transfer window. It's very unlikely that players are going to want to sell us their best players. Bielsa's been hired as Newcastle manager. What's happening in the Championship? Maybe we should just take the typical approach that some teams take when they're in relegation battles, which is to turn to the Championship and find the best performers and then sign those. I mean, ironically, Sam Vokes, former Burnley man who was involved in an exchange deal with Peter Crouch, is performing quite well in the Championship. Morpie, I mean, an option, but probably a bit too expensive for us. In terms of assists, Josh Harrop's leading the way. How good would you be as a deep line playmaker? On support, you'd be okay. On defend, not so okay. You can play on the right and left. But you do play for Preston, who are one of Burnley's big rivals. I mean, how much do Preston want? Probably a bit too much for what he offers. You know what? We'll get a scout report on him. We'll get a scout report. Interesting to see that the player with the most player of the matches is Dean Henderson, who's a goalkeeper, and also Tim Krul's up there. Apparently, goalkeepers get man of the match these days. Never thought I'd see the day in Football Manager. I don't want to make any players available for the under-23s or the under-18s or whatever team's playing because, frankly, we don't have a big enough squad to let them go out and get match fitness. I need them in the first team. I need them playing. We've already been told, haven't we, about players with contracts expiring. I'm not going to worry about those. And I'm not going to worry too much about the staff just yet, at least. Right, the King Power Stadium. It's a big game for us. Can we play our best team yet? Wait, did Defo get injured again? Out for 3 to 7 days. Oh, apparently it got worse, the injury. I swear he was able to play the last game. Am I going mad? Answers on a postcard. Apparently Chris Wood needs a rest now. Oh my gosh. We need a striker. And Defo literally can't play. I mean, I guess we'll just bring in Dwight McNeil, but now we don't have a centre midfielder. And Jeff Hendrick's still tired. I've never played a system with one centre mid, but it might come to that at the rate that things are going here. No real recovery time. I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic that against Burnley we can get something against the odds. They've got a pretty good team of Burnley. You can see why they'd be in 10th and we're struggling, I feel like, when you look at the 2-11s. But we're underdogs here, away from home. I mean, we showed we could defend last time out. I mean, how many clean sheets have we got this year? I actually want to now check that because I'm curious. We got a clean sheet in our last game. We got one against... To be fair, there's actually been a few clean sheets looking at it. Just go back. Why does the back button move? There's been a few clean sheets here and there. But not that many, actually, to be fair. Conceded quite a few. Let's just have a look at this. I mean, scored 19, conceded 27. I mean, it's not actually the least amount scored, and it's not actually the worst defensive record. It's just apparently that we're losing by narrow margins. But I think we can be the man to turn things around and draw every game for the rest of the year. I am very much going into this kind of Burnley challenge with the mindset of we need 38 points to be safe. That is generally the benchmark for safety in terms of if you can get to 38 points, that's enough traditionally in the Premier League. I am thinking that we might need to play our target man on attack because Vidra is just very, very isolated there, as you saw. Just no one to pass to. And given how deep we're playing, we need our players to hold up the play, and it's very difficult for a single striker on his own to hold up the play efficiently. So at least we're giving him one kind of partner in crime, I guess, in Barnes, who is okay in the air, despite being a more natural pressing forward. Obviously, with Wood being out, our top goal scorer, Barnes is the man we turn to. Can we defend this here? They whip in the ball. Back post. It's not great, is it? Rachid Ghazal has scored. you'd have to say, on the balance of play, after 6 minutes, they probably deserve it. Do I want to go balanced instead of cautious? I think I do. Is it Charlie Taylor at fault there? I mean, it probably is. It's a bit of a defensive calamity. Considering that our whole foundation for this team is, build a really solid defence and then, we'll plan things from there. The fact that we've been that bad at the back is not a particularly promising sign. Maybe we're playing too deep here. Maybe we're playing too deep, is what I'm thinking. Tielemans, especially with long shots this year in FM. Let's play less deep. Let's just play a standard line. And then go back to the pitch view where we're going to see our team score. Right? Probably not. I mean, I feel like I'm already getting to the point of passive-aggressive kind of with how I'm approaching this Burnley team. I'm already resenting the players. I need to clear my head here. I need to mentally reset. It's not going to get us anywhere thinking facetiously about this team. It's only 1-0. We've got a set-piece Brady. Could be Barnes at the back post. Hendrick's actually there. Not a bad header. Not a bad header at all. Unfortunately, couldn't find its way through. Kasper Schmeichel in goal for them with the save. I mean, that was the chance, right? They're not going to score here. Surely not. James Maddison bringing the ball forward down the right side. Goes back to Amati. Plays it forward to Gazal, who whips it in. Tarkovsky gets rid of it. Westwood, that's not convincing. Joe Hart, what are you doing? It's been given offside. I mean, I'm confused. Was Tielemans offside? I can only assume he was blocking the keeper's view. I was ready to throw Joe Hart under the bus, bless him. Maybe I need to take it all back. I'm going to be honest, not a first half to remember. Expect to see a much better showing in the second half. I mean, don't look stressed, Joe. Come here, look, calm. You've been unlucky so far. Good job. Still stressed. Maybe he doesn't have the mental fortitude. Maybe this is why Heaton was playing. Palmer wants to go, you know what, screw it. Let's go for the attacking tactic in the second half. Of course, we are using a completely untested 4-4-2 here. You kind of saw me tweaking it with the switching the target man to attack. I have no doubt that the tactic that we are using now will not be the tactic we are using come the end of the season. It is going to change. It is going to evolve. Just given our current kind of selection of players, we don't have a great deal of choice. You can see Jeff Hendrick, 54% condition. I don't have another centre mid. I don't really want to keep playing him on a box-to-box midfielder role when he's that tired. I'm going to set him to centre mid on defend, and then I'm going to set Westwood to be a advanced playmaker on support. So we're going to have to switch around our centre mids, but with the current situation, like Hendrick can't be expected to get forwards and backwards. He's exhausted. 12 minutes left. Let's bring in Lennon again on the left-hand side. I'm also going to bring in Peter Crouch for Ashley Barnes. Eventually it's got to come good, right? And I'm not going to change anything else despite how tired the players are, because I just don't have the impact substitutes that I'd like to have. We don't have any pace to inject into this team. We're kind of stuck with what we've got, and well, maybe Joe Hart should be dropped. I feel like he could have got to that one. I feel like he should have got to it. Christian Fuchs with the long-ranged effort in the 83rd minute here. Leicester at home. I think they backed themselves to win this game given the two teams' league positions, but nevertheless, it's just disappointing that we've not created enough. The good news is it only gets easier because we've got Manchester City next. Westwood, can you do something? Why is Peter Crouch not in the box? Have I got the strikers the wrong way round in terms of who goes into the box and who doesn't? Or did I not update it for all the tactics? Am I not a smart man? Probably not the wisest move not to have Peter Crouch in the box on corners. Just going to throw it out there, Jack. Gazelle puts it forward to Vardy, who's through, who hits it. I mean, 3-0 is a little bit embarrassing now. I'm not going to lie and save face. Joe Hart apparently made the wrong decision to come and get the... I mean, Joe Hart's dropped. We do actually have Heaton on the bench. Go on, Tom. I'm pulling my goalkeeper. I've been watching too much hockey. So it's a normal thing in hockey that if you concede 3 or 4, you might pull your keeper just to save his, emotions a little bit. We're going to do that here. Is that a penalty? We've got a penalty. We could score. Vidra's not taking it. Vidra, you're not... Vidra's actually got 70... he's good at penalties. He's good at penalties. He should be the man to have it. This is a chance for us to get our first goal here at Burnley. This is a massive moment. Cometh the man. Cometh the hour. Vidra. Show us what you're made of. He's missed. He's literally missed. The fairy tale turnaround is going to be beautiful here, isn't it? Yeah, we're going to get to January. Some massive signings. It's going to be a whole new team. I might have to ask the board for more money, is what I'm thinking. We might need more to spend. Maybe 20 million isn't enough to solve the problems here, boys. I'm not happy. One little bit. That is blooming awful. Brendan Rodgers is satisfied. I am not, Brendan. I am not. Brady's now suspended through an accumulation of yellow cards. Has anyone played well? Not really. Let's just think about this tactic just for a second. I'm thinking that we play the inverted winger on attack with Goodmanson, because he's the man getting all the assists this year before we came. He's only got 1 in the league and 9 in the Europa League, so maybe that's a problem too. But having him on attack, you'll have the deep line playmaker alongside him for support. I'm actually wondering if we should go to a centre mid on defend on Westwood instead of a deep line playmaker. That might be the better option. In terms of things, let's be more direct but play at a slightly lower tempo. Hold up the play when we need to. Given the fact that we are playing quite deep, it is going to be important that that we do perhaps play direct. I do want to keep a deep line, but maybe we should have the line of engagement just a tiny bit higher. If I have it higher, we're going to be a little bit spread out. There's going to be more space for us to get kind of exploited within. But at the same time, I'm playing with a pressing forward. You know what? We'll go with standard and lower defensive line. I'm a little bit conscious that against teams that have, attacking midfielders who are going to play within the pocket of space, we might get exploited. But it feels a little bit too soon to be perhaps reacting off things. Let's have a quick look at the analysis for the Leicester and Newcastle games. Obviously, it's a very, very small kind of sample size. We can sign Samuel here. We don't know how good you are yet, Samuel, but I need a centre mid, and you look like you're an okay centre. He's competent at centre mid. And competency is kind of what we need. Right. We've impressively restricted the opposition to just 2 goals from 61 touches in our penalty area. What's the issue? We've conceded... we've scored none of our 4 attempted shots from outside the penalty area. I'll be honest, 4 shots from outside the box is not that many. We've scored none of our 15 shots within the penalty. That's more concerning. But I think that's more that we just need a striker. We've lost possession in the defensive third a lot, although we've often recovered it. Opposition final third entries are coming through the centre. So that's why I think maybe having a centre mid on defend might be a better option rather than the deep line playmaker. Charlie Taylor has lost the ball a lot, but frequently wins it back. I'm not gonna put too much stock in that after 2 games. I'm thinking we maybe just need to have Brady on a regular winger role instead of trying him on defensive winger. I'm wondering on Hendrick if we should play him as a Mazzala. This year, I've had a lot of success playing a Mazzala versus playing a box-to-box midfielder, and I actually don't feel like there's a great... I don't want to say there's not a great deal of difference, but actually I just feel like a Mazzala as a role is just better in the match engine. I know people don't like to think of Football Manager as a game. I feel like you kind of have to at times. You need to think what actually works in the match engine and then work off that. We're going to have to rest our players going into the next game against Man City next episode. It is going to be on the 1st, so we might have some new signings coming in. So with that in mind, I'm not going to worry about changing things too much. I'm a little bit conscious that I'm just signing the first players I see. So, we'll wait for the scout reports. We'll wait and see what the board have to say on things. But The reality is we need bodies, and we need bodies fast. I mean, we're coming through the December period, which traditionally within the Premier League is just the period with the most goals with the most games. It's just a tiny bit concerning that in our first 2 games we're yet to score. You know, that's why I'm thinking we might need to go just a little more attacking with things. I'm not too fussed about us playing cautious, but yeah, I feel like we need to change some of the midfield roles and perhaps how we approach our defensive line. Anyway, I don't want to overchange things after just 2 games, but we definitely need to think things over. I'd be curious to know in the comments what you would be changing right now if you were me. I do feel like fundamentally player fitness is just a massive, massive problem here. We need to get bodies in, and we only have a month to do it. Teams are not going to want to sell us their star players come January. I can't just sign players who are statistically amazing. As much as I'd love that to be the solution, I feel like what we've really got to look at is what players can we bring in as punts and that might come good for us and that look like they should be the kind of players performing. And maybe from there we can start to, you know, actually build a team that can do a job for us. I've got to look at what's available and I feel like just react off that. Maybe our scouts are going to throw some players our way too, of course. Anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap things up here for today. Next episode, it's only going to get easier. We've got Manchester City. We've then got Plymouth in the FA Cup. And then we've got a massive game against Watford, who are in 18th. That is must win. Following on from that, Southampton in 10th and Wolves in 11th. So not the easiest of games. And then things only really get more difficult. We've got Everton, Tottenham, Liverpool, Chelsea, Palace who are in 8th, then Arsenal in 2nd. Then we've got Manchester United. We've got tricky games. I'm really looking at 7 of the last 8 games thinking you are the games where we need to turn things around and grind out some results. The reality is that going into this next run of games, the Newcastle and Leicester games are certainly some of the best opportunities to get points. And, well, January is just going to be a massive month for us. The games against Watford, Southampton and Wolves, we need to be getting 6 points from as a minimum. You can see right now we are 5 points from safety, so we very much have it all to do. Anyway, guys, that's going to wrap up everything from me today. Hopefully you have enjoyed this episode. If you have, do drop a like on it. I'll see you again soon with episode number 3. And yeah, other than that, it is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.